evil guy. He wants to destroy the world.
He is very small person actually.
I think that as a composer, and this is sometimes we need to make a decision in this sense. Hey guys, welcome back to another Composers React. If you are already following the series but you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing and like the channel. We want to break the YouTube algorithm. We are back with Sofia Dragt.
Yes.
Sofia is a singer-songwriter and also a composer. Did a lot of cool documentaries, like in a Dutch film. I'm actually very curious. You don't see it that often, only more now that there's more female composers.
Right. We are there.
Yeah. I'm happy that we can represent that finally.
Exactly.
Do you think this is a very male-dominated territory still?
I think so. I know a lot of composers who are male, of course, and are producers. I think, I like working with men, but I also think it's good that men see females like me as their equal.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot going on in a transition kind of way. That there is going to be more female composers who are seen, kind of.
Yeah, I think it's very important. It's of course, if you're attracting a certain type of people and it's mostly men, it's not in the fact that you don't like this or that, but it's maybe more dominated that way.
Exactly.
I do like that there's now, it feels like it's more flourishing. There's more female composers and they're being recognized.
Exactly.
Especially the one that we are going to react on today.
Exactly.
Which trailer did you bring?
I brought Joker.
Let's go.
Music is by Hildur Gothnadottir, if I say it right.
Yeah.
But Hildur, and I think also she was nominated and also won awards, and it's really good for young female composers or even other female composer, not even young. Good to see that there's things changing in that way.
I love that, and she puts on kind of the inspiration also for young girls who want to portray this world and maybe are afraid this is just more of a male-dominated world. That they see on this podium with the Joker, like a big movie. And I think that's great. That sets really the tone for the future. I love that.
Yes, I agree.
So we dive into it and see what we think.
Sure thing.
Of the iconic Joker.
Yep.
Arthur,
here we go.
Does it help to have someone to talk to?
This was a good movie.
Yes.
It is a good movie.
It is a good movie. And
My
so
mother
she is a cello player.
Always tells me
and she
to
really
smile
works from cello.
and put on a happy face.
Yeah, it was a very string-heavy soundtrack.
Yeah,
She told me I had a purpose.
Great fit.
Yeah.
To bring laughter and joy to the world.
Yeah. I mean, this contrast between being happy but actually being sad.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I remember this. A super grounded, real depiction of this. Of the Joker.
Yeah, exactly. Also because people didn't see him. He wasn't seen, and that's why he lost his mind.
Yeah, to make the motive understandable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice contra effect where it's good in this romantic age of music where everything was warm and silky.
Yeah, but still you think he's really freaky, But this is just his way of coping, I guess.
This guy is such a good actor.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah. Sound effects for this.
I like the mix between this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the suspense, but also this romantic music.
Orchestral backhand to, of course, this song, which is
lost its way.
almost like this Paris, everything is good feeling,
do something that
Broadway.
Someone who hides behind a mask.
But you can feel that it's not going in the right way for anyone.
It's like fake showbiz.
Yeah,
it's this facade.
Life was a tragedy.
Yeah. Also pretty big orchestral stuff.
But now I realize
Rises up. You don't really hear too much of the strings of the original soundtrack.
No, that's true.
That's the real origin story of a man that has lost it.
Yeah, lost it. Yeah, he really, because he wasn't seen by anyone. That's it, I guess. Well, I mean, it's more wrong,
It's such a this trailer on itself. So you don't hear much. Maybe in the beginning, you hear a little bit more of this kind of approach that they go with the cello. There's no cello in this one,
exactly. So I think it's different from the movie, I guess, because there's a lot of suspenseful cello in it, I guess. Very, very tense, but also, it's not really a fast piece of music, but it's really
it's not the depiction
layered.
of the soundtrack. I do believe this is great music supervision. They go for this contra show business, and everything is like the show must go on.
Exactly.
But then again, you see this broken man, like it hasn't been having a voice or hasn't been listened to, and slowly the origin of kind of why this villain where does
originates.
it and that you can kind of identify with it, where you're like, hey, this kind of makes sense, like how a person turns this way.
Exactly.
I do believe that that's really well thought, that you now give a great understandable motive to a villain instead of just like evil guy. He wants to destroy the world. No,
exactly. I want to see or hear the stories of more villains in the world. Like, well, I'm not gonna name them, but I mean, like villains in the world. What was their origin? Like how did they became this person? And that's an interesting story, actually. And
it's kind of like an example from a game like The Last of Us 2. They show two perspectives in a way of like, hey, the one that you might not really understand because you're just fighting it, but you don't know the backstory to it. But now you see kind of this deeper experience and why it got that way.
Right, yeah.
They did this extremely good in a very grounded way with the Joker. I think DC, definitely. That's kind of the best answer to Marvel, right? So Marvel also has a little bit more of the comedic factor to it. Yeah. They go super serious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they of course they need a villain to make the balance for it. But for this, you really see there is no villain actually. Well, of course and eventually he is the villain, but he is very small person actually.
Now and then you see kind of like, so it almost becomes more clear to you why somebody turns into a certain way or which is greatly done. Then again, when Hilder got the soundtrack, like or she really puts this so the cello, like this strings, and it's very heavy on that. But also she keeps it very intimate.
Yeah, so it's very minimal actually, and she really uses the low tones, of the cello to really make this tense atmosphere, I think, and also uses the glides of what the cello can do perfectly,
The drama, the
drama,
the
really
breaking
dramatic,
point, the moment where the bend kind of breaks and it snaps.
Yeah, but also very minimalistic. So not like a really big orchestra, and but just the minimal things of that it needs that fits the story. Yeah,
I think it's cool. It's definitely a different movie. So if you're into superhero movies, there's always kind of this more cliche kind of way of telling the superhero story. Mm-hmm. But to make kind of like an everyday man version of the Joker, like how would a person like that, how would it originate, and is it something understandable, or how do you lose your mind at certain where do you break? That's great what they did with the Dark Knight as well, where they make it more grounded.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
And me too. And also the contrast between laughter and sadness.
Yeah.
Because you can see that he is trying to be very happy. He's trying to be happy. And then you can hear the kind of the sadness in the music, and that's the real thing that's underneath.
No, and that is what this trailer is depicting pretty good. Like even if it's not really the use of the soundtrack or kind of like a mimic of what the soundtrack is doing, it does do the same kind of emotion where it's like everything is great, everything is happy, but not really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and this is also the struggle that's the Joker is having is you see like there's so much going on and maybe you want to feel like the show business and you want to be even he wants to be the comedian, of course, and want to make jokes.
Exactly.
But it's kind of sad and he's making fun of and all this.
Yeah, it's a way of coping, but it's totally like a very sad way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the soundtrack is portraying that. And it's I think they say it as well, where you get this very eerie feeling. They do it a lot of in horror. They have these high-pitched sounds, which is always kind of psychologically paired with a mouse makes a small sound, and an elephant or a lion makes a growling sound.
Exactly.
So we are scared for the big sound and the bassy sound, and the small sound. We're like, oh, that's cute.
Mm-hmm.
But if you combine the two, so the laughter, but then the low cellos, then you get this eerie feeling. I don't know how to feel. Like, should it be scared or should I think it's cute? Like
you could dive into this feeling, you know, instead of just I recognize this or whatever.
And then of course, like the situation that he's in, then you have these moments where people don't understand it, where he's laughing because he had this like a disorder of laughing as well, and then
exactly.
Then he has this little card and shows like I have something, so I'm not laughing at you. But everything is so awkward and doesn't feel right and misunderstood constantly.
Exactly.
And I think the soundtrack did that extremely well by giving you that feeling as the audience, where you could really crawl into his skin and feel what that feels like.
Yeah, exactly. But because otherwise, if you just have this happy theme, like, you know, then you feel like okay, that should be what he wants to feel, kind of.
Yeah.
But you feel in the music that he like really the dark side of his way of doing things.
And I think that as a composer, and this is sometimes we need to make a decision in this sense, where you or you place yourself in the audience and you're saying, hey, I kind of see it as an observer, or you're going to be in the middle of it and you say, I'm going to portray the feelings that are happening inside of the characters, or it's more of a thematic thing, it's more of a situation driven. Is there something that you prefer as a composer where you say, I really always like to dive into the feelings of the character, or is there another approach that you like more?
It of course depends on the project. But so I did a lot of nature documentary, and there's also characters in that. For example, a type of bird, you know, or a duck or whatever. You know, but there are themes for that type of person, and also when there's a scene that you have to be afraid because another bird is gonna get the chick of the
So it's getting their prey and
exactly. So I do use this feeling of, do I want to be in this big bird, or do I want to be in the small little chick?
That's of course like a choice that you have to make, and of course you can say the way the bird is walking, ding, 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 ding,
exactly.
ding, or like a little arpeggio, if there's like a panther is running or something.
Exactly.
What did you choose?
Well, it's interesting to use both, kind of, because there's this little thing, and then, but if you do like a dissonant kind of, so I have a violin. I'm not a violinist, but I have it just to make soundscapes and just to touch a little bit of off pitch kind of vibe. Then you feel this. Okay, this should be normal, but I feel there's something wrong, kind of vibe. So
something is going wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody gets eaten.
And then if someone really gets eaten, then I'm gonna go all the way like, this is totally wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's funny because indeed you have like this question and answer that you can do with music, and let's say the cello is doing one thing, but then the basses are giving another answer, or maybe the flutes just to make more contrast or something.
Yeah, exactly.
You could, of course, do that, and then when it's eaten, then it combines, or maybe one is gone. You know,
exactly. Yeah,
one of the instruments is
exactly that. Yeah, so that theme is gone.
No, it's interesting, and I think a lot of people that are maybe into composing, and when I was starting out, I wanted to know as well, like, how do you write? Like, there's so many perspectives that I can explain within this music.
Exactly.
And therefore, you need to make a choice. Sometimes it's, of course, a director. Sometimes it's the project, or you decide yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, but it's a good way. I mean, I was very lucky to work with a director for the nature documentary, who is very also musically, but very open to my ideas and thoughts, but also knows what he wants. So it's a good combination, I think. But sometimes you just need to follow the
rules.
Follow the rules.
No, sure. And I think if you are being hired or you are being put onto a project, and this is what we would do with our composers as well, when we put them on project, is we do ask them to be free. Like if we want to be extremely detailed or extremely like short-sighted on exactly what we have in our minds, then we probably shouldn't let these people do it. There are occasions where maybe it needs to be a certain direction, but we always like to give the freedom. It's like, what would you like to do with it? What is your perspective on it?
And there's another way of creativity flowing. Yep.
I love that you brought this one. This is really a good one for everybody that hasn't watched this. It's sad though. It's sad. It's really depressing as well.
Yeah, but you should.
But it's good.
Yeah, watch it. Yeah, it's very
music,
good.
Hilder, insane soundtrack, and indeed what you're saying, a lot of awards won for it.
Yeah,
and well deserved.
She's awesome. Yeah.
And happy that she can set the example, because we need more female composers that are out there. So that's good.
Yep.
Then again, I am very curious. What is your favorite Joker? Was it Jack Nicholson? Was it maybe Mr. Phoenix? Was it maybe even an older one? I forgot his name. But let me know which one is your favorite. Also, if you have any suggestions for other trailers to react, or maybe music videos, or maybe even composers, let us know as well. Like, subscribe if you want to support the channel. Thank you for joining again.
Thank you.
And I'm left off to thank you for watching, and see you next time. Hey there, I appreciate you watching the video. If you like this one, check out this video or that video. And if you want to support the channel, make sure to click on top of my head on the logo and subscribe to the channel.